video lecture, and this is basically focused on the concept of health and the health and healing practices in tribal culture. In fact, when we see the health, it has been seen from the various perspectives. Right from our existence, human existence, health has been an integral part of our life. So, right from the very different ages and different situation, it has been defined and understood in a different way. If we look at the ancient literature, like Indian, Chinese, or the Greek literature, it has been vividly mentioned that it is conceived as a balance between a person and the environment. It is also conceived in terms of unity of soul and body, as well as is very natural in its origin. It was also conceived as a harmonious functioning of the organ, thus emphasizing the physical dimension of body and a harmonious functioning of the organ, thus emphasizing a very physical dimension of the body and its parts being in the harmonizing relationship. Nowadays, it is also seen that the health is conceived in terms of the well-being. It is basically, with the well-being, we mean the quality of life which is perceived satisfactory, and in this manner it is seen something as a very holistic in nature. It is very subjective, though very holistic in nature. Health is also considered as being free from the illness. In this context, we perceive health in a bipolar spectrum. That is, health being at one end and the other end being the illness. Conceptualizing health in a very positive manner, it is expected that it is one of the essential aspects for carrying out various activities of a day-to-day life with quite ease. It is just not only the function of the overall development of the society, but it also is a product of many factors that influences the body and environment. Now, looking into these very aspects of the health or the perspective on the health, there are certain concepts which has been developed looking into how we view the health from a specific perspective. In this context, it has been identified as biomedical concepts, then the ecological concept, psychosocial concept, as well as that of the holistic. In the biomedical concept, it conceives health in a very organic perspective, wherein the body is supposed to be seen in a very mechanistic manner, wherein which is need to be corrected by repairing the parts and restating the original or restoring the original status of the body. Thus, the absence of disease is basically conceived as a healthy body. Absence of disease is basically conceived as a part of the healthy body. Now, in the ecological concept, human being is situated within the ecosphere, wherein the environment play a great role on or influences the body very significantly. It espouses a very dynamic equilibrium between man and that of the environment for a healthy life. Now, the psychosocial concept, it situates human organism or human being as a social organism who is profoundly affected by the social and the psychological factors. Human beings are also tied to a web of relationship which influences their social, cultural, economic and the political aspect with a great influence upon their psyche also. The bruised psyche, because of disturbance in any of these aspects, ultimately lead to the unhealthy situation or subnormal status, and thus it see health in the perspective of human being as a social as well as that of the ecological being. The holistic concept, it conceptualizes human being in adjustment with its biotic, abiotic and social environment. Since human being is related to its environment in a multidimensional way, any discrepancy in any aspect lead to the maladjustment and this comprising less than normal health situation. The livelihood pattern, the professional life, the developmental initiatives, all have a very impact on the well-being. Health is thus a relative state in which one is able to function well physically, mentally, socially and spiritually, is given the environment wherein one is located. Now, there we also have a concept related to the some other way which may not be very relevant to discuss over here. Howsoever, coming over to the all this concept, one can reach to the certain definition which the health espouses. Thus, the health is a state, as per the WHO, we find that the health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well being, and not only an absence of disease or the infirmity. 1948 WHO has given this definition. However, this definition was met with many criticizes because it sees health in a very idealistic manner. The whole complete mental well-being, mental, physical, and the social well-being is supposed to be not at all achievable, and hence it is less than what it should be operational in the context of health. Looking into these aspects, a more pragmatic concept of health was presented, which view health as an ability to conduct a socially and economic productive life. Again, in 1984, the definition of health is also a comprehensive definition of health was presented, which espoused that health is basically a resource for everyday life. In the present context, in general term and nowadays, health is also characterized as by the qualities of the wholeness, pragmatism, and individualism in a layman's perspective. It has been observed that the wholeness is refers to a holistic phenomena interwoven with all aspects of the life, including working life, social life, family life, and the community life. Thus, in addition to the satisfaction of one's life, it also focuses on the liberty according to one's personal values. Pragmatism, on the other hand, reflects the health as a relative phenomenon. Health is experienced and enhanced or evaluated according to what people find reasonable to be expected given their age, medical condition, and social conditions, social situations. It does not necessarily look into the freedom from the disease, loss of functional or the loss of functional abilities. Individualism, on the other hand, is a very personal phenomenon, and it values one closeness to other persons, choices and strategies that are made to improve the health. Coming over to the tribal culture, the health in tribal culture is also very essential to understand. Firstly, we have to look that the tribal, though constitute around 8.6% of the population, are distributed across the country. There are 635 scheduled tribe community and 75 particularly vulnerable tribal groups, each with a distinct culture. Now, what is culture? Culture, as we know, is a unique way of living of a particular ethnic group. Tyler has given a very comprehensive definition of culture. Campbell also defined culture as a web of information that a person learns and which guide each person's action, experience, and the perception. Avrup, while emphasizing the culture as the experience learned, it also highlighted that it is created and interpreted from past generation and also from the contemporary one. Health, being a part of the cultural aspect of the community, varies greatly across the societies. Now, conceiving health in the tribal culture is very difficult, is very different from what we actually conceive health in the general perception. In tribal communities, it is a complex phenomena rooted into their social and the cultural milieu. There exists an organic relation between individual and their culture. It is difficult to see health only in the biological or the medical context. Culturally and socially rich practices encompass the management of health, which is quite at variation with the general population. Cultural factors such as social status, relationship of individual with the social members, nature of relationship with the supernatural, they all play a very significant role in the evolution of perception of health in the tribal societies. The perception of health and ill health among the tribal and non-tribal communities vary a great deal. While in the non-tribal societies, ill health issues are considered from the physiological natural phenomena and malfunctioning of the body. In tribal societies, these are classified on the basis of causation and supernatural causation. Concept of health in tribal society is basically understood in terms of withdrawal from the work. That is, a person is not considered to be afflicted with some disease unless and until the person feels incapable of working or doing the normal work assigned to their respective age. The same is also echoed by the raw adolescent girls when they find that health is an asset for them, for it takes its toll on them when it is adversely affect their subsistence and ultimately prove to be fatal to their existence. Thus, only when the functionality of the individual is affected or under constraint, then he or she is taken as ill. Health thus is taken in a functional rather than in a clinical one in approach. Now, what are the factors that influences health? The tribal communities are very much entrenched into their physical and social surrounding. Health is believed to be the balance between the various natural, physical, and supernatural realm of space and the human body. Broadly, they are seen to be influenced by the four factors. The first, being a staunch believer in the role of the nature and its very element in harmonizing relation with man, disease is supposed to be an imbalance between them. It is believed that the human life is governed by the sun, rain, wind, and other elements of nature. Any maladjustment with these elements make person liable to be affected by disease. Hence, all possible steps are taken to restore the balance. Among the Irula tribe, short-term illness is supposed to be caused by some physical factors such as rain and climate, but long-term illness is believed to be caused by the supernatural power. Khond of Odisha, on the other hand, conceive a very symbiotic relationship between man, animal, birds and reptile, and disturbance in these relationships is considered very disastrous. Now, the second factor is actually the acts of omission and commission in observing certain social and religious norms. The violation of certain rules and taboos not only bring disease to the concerned person only, but many a time it also affects the whole village. Thus, epidemics like smallpox are seen in this context. Illness and the consequent management of disease is not always an individual or the familial affair, but sometimes the decision about the nature of treatment is also taken at the community level. All the other families in the village are expected to observe certain rituals, taboos and norms related to the intake of the specific food. The non-observance of such practices may attract the punishment by the community and the caste panchayat. Incestuous relations and the moral impropriety too leads to the affliction of misfortune in the form of famine or the epidemic on the village. In the Santhal, the people generally believe that the touching the clothes or the food of the ill person can also cause certain illness. The third one is the belief in God, deities, ghosts and malevolent and the benevolent spirits that pervades the space and inflicting pain and injury when they are angered. Broadly, the tribal people believe in four types of supernatural powers. These are first, protective spirits. There are always these spirits who protect the human being and is constituted of various deities located within their home and outside. Thus, the village deity, mountain deity, the forest deity, or in the tribal specific terminology, the Marang Baru or the Janga Baru, these are supposed to be the important deities who protect them from any kind of misfortune. The benevolent spirit, on the other hand, are worshipped at the community and the family level regularly. Otherwise, they may bring disease or any kind of death in the society. Thus, the Maji Buddhi or the Maji Adam in the Santhal of Mayurbhanj are supposed to be the important deity who protect them from any kind of the evil spirits. The malevolent spirit, these are the evil spirits who control smallpox, fever, abortions, etc. Among many tribal communities, it is also believed that these spirits tries to invade human body and possess them. geoparadising their life. So, in this context, the Northeast Indian tribe, they normally believe in the soul loss, which is an important phenomenon wherein the soul of the human being is captured and controlled by the malevolent spirit or sorcerer, resulting into sickness. If the soul is not recalled and restored, then it may cause death of the person. Similarly, in the Saura, different deities are identified with the different kind of diseases. Thus, the cold, sore throat, blindness, rheumatism, these all are associated with a different kind of deities. Yet, there may be certain bad spirits who may bring in more than 2 or 5 diseases alone. Just for example, in one of the Northeast Indian tribe, the Basuta is supposed to be one of the these kind of malevolent spirit who can inflict 141 kind of illness to an individual. In Bahattara tribe also, women believe that the gynecological diseases, leprosy, TB, anemia, goiter, etc. are caused by the evil spirits. There are another aspects of that is also to be discussed is the ancestral spirits, which are the spirits of the ancestors who always protect them, and thus they are the regularly worshipped for the fortune and prosperity. In addition to that, there are other involvement of human agency which is manifested through sorcery, witchcraft, evil eye and the black tongue. Evil eyes are the factors that are associated with the affliction of disease. These are supposed to be caused by the power acquired by the people to harm other person with some vested interest. Thus, to punish the person for their own gain, they cast bad eye on the concerned person and bringing in ailment and a misery. Bewitchment, bad ear, bad tongue, black tongue are also cause illness to the person on whom it is targeted. Among Saharia, while a strong belief is that a person emanating evil and having the mysterious power like evil eye and evil touch can also affect or deteriorate the health of a person. In addition to it, there are also the physical factors that are closely related to the health. They are identified within the physical world. Hence, food, environmental factor also influence the health. Thus, in Hill Bhuiya and the Saura, diarrhea and dysentery in rainy season is attributed to the substituted food of the jackfruit seed, processed mango kernel for lack of the availability of the cereals during that period. It is not only the cause of the environment, but it is also because of the diet that one is taking up, it causes the different kind of health problem. In many tribal society, foods have been identified on the basis of their hot and cold attributes. Hot food create heat within the body, while cold food cause coolness inside. Thus, if hot food are taken during the summer, the excess heat inside the body leads to illness, while cold food play havoc during the cold season. Opler lists the following most commonly believed causes of the various diseases. These are the malfunctioning or imbalance of 3 humors, the faulty diet, lack of harmony with the spiritual world, activities of ghost, the imbalance of forces which control health, displeasure of deities, and last is the immoderation or inappropriate behavior in physical, social and economic matters. Now, looking into the healthcare management in tribal communities, there are certain specific management procedures which is normally employed by the tribals in coming out of their health ailments. In tribal society, healthcare management starts with the identification of illness, and the illness is identified as short-term and long-term illness. Among irregular tribes, short-term illness is believed to be caused by the physical factors like rain, heat and other climate conditions, whereas long-term illness is normally believed to be caused by the supernatural power. Again, the causation of illness is seen to be manifested by the physical condition and behavior of the person. However, social relation of person and their kith and kin's role is also explored in determining the causation. Now, the social construction of illness. The first and foremost important thing in identifying and management of the illness is that of the social construction, how the illness is actually conceived. Among the tribal community, the social construction of illness actually determines the curative action. Illness is not conceptualized as an organic event, but it extends beyond the body and enters into the social realm of the individual and the family. It is believed that disease is caused not only by the individual, but it is also found in the web of various relationships. Hence, own as well as a final kin group are also seen to be involved in behavior like offending social norms by violating do's and don'ts, disrespectful to deities, and the breach of taboos. The reasons believed to lead the visitation of these reasons believed to lead the visitations of the misfortune expressed as disease. Such behaviors also lead to the loss of soul or invasion by the spirits. Communities also have a varied explanation to the seemingly similar illness, while again it is explained in the context of individual and their varied relation in the respective social milieu. And the healthcare practices, it is a very complex system in the tribal belief system. The tribal health beliefs lead to the multiplicity of healthcare practices to manage their health. The healthcare practices take into the consideration of environmental factor and uses of indigenous herbs, taboos, and propitiations of the supernatural powers. Smith has categorized them into the primary, secondary, and the tertiary practices. In the primary healthcare practices, the self-care behavior prevents the onset of disease. Secondary prevention actually starts with those activities that lead to the early detection of disease, and the tertiary practices which actually include the treatment required to cure the disease. Generally, the treatment procedure in tribal include preventive and the curative aspects. In preventive aspect, they perform rituals, use charms and amulets, and the animal sacrifice. Whereas in the curative aspect, generally the help of the sacred specialist, priest, and the medicine man is sought. Thus, spirit possession and exorcism through divination is most accepted way of getting rid of problem in almost all societies. However, in the changing context, there has been a recent trend that has been emerging in the tribal healthcare practices. Though there has been substantial belief in the supernatural and other causes of disease, the trend is gradually shifting to the modern healthcare. Today, tribes at large, especially those who are exposed to the outside world, are less dependent on the traditional healing practices in most of the cases. Education, migration, and urbanization have influenced the health culture of the tribes. Places where accessibility of the health services is increased, people are utilizing these services for their health problems. So normally in general what we have been seeing that though their specific traditional belief system is very strong in the tribal community, nonetheless, as per the demand of the modern times and the availability of the resources, people are slowly and gradually responding to the modern health system. Nonetheless, still most of the people, more than 70%, are still going for the traditional healthcare system first, and later on they switch over to the normal or the modern medical care system. Thank you.